All right, guys, so now we're going to talk about something a little bit more fun. Choosing your business name. Who are you going to be? So, we talked about that it's never too late to get started. We talked about finding your target audience, but now let's talk about choosing your business name. So, when you're thinking about choosing your business name, you need to come up with a name that represents who you are, what you do, and is attractive to your target audience. So, for instance, you don't want to come up with, let's use an example. Say you're in where I'm from, Tennessee, and you want to be a screen printing company. A great name could be Rocky Top Tees. I don't know if you might mess with trademarks with that with Tennessee football, but Rocky Top Tees, the Big Orange Screen Printing Company, Big Orange Tees. These are just things that make sense to your target audience because in that situation in Knoxville, Tennessee, where I'm from, and the UT team being one of the biggest things to do in the city, the colors being orange and white, Big Orange Tees would resonate with the locals, the community that's going to be buying from you. Rocky Top t-shirts, it makes sense. You're buying from someone local. They feel like they can trust you. It's t-shirts, it's home. So let me call them and see what they're talking about. Now, what probably wouldn't make sense if my name was Red Carpet Industries. So it's like Red Carpet Industries may mean something to you, but does it make sense to your customers? So while you're thinking of a business name, think of something that generalizes everything that you do, that touches the base of your target audience, that includes what you do. I want you to get a pen and paper right now and write those things down. So write the first 10. Let's make it easy. Write the first 5 names that come to your mind. And I'm going to jump into the T-shirt game book to break down some of what I wrote in there so it makes a little bit more sense what we're talking about. I'm in the picture-to-picture. While I'm going over this, start just thinking of names, jotting stuff down. So I had wrote, creating your business name is very important because you're coming up with your identity of your business. Your business name can make or it can break your business. You want to come up with a name that is unique and encompasses the functions and goals of your business operations. So like I said, you need to come up with something that encompasses everything, that makes sense as soon as you hear it. You know, a lot of these global brands can kind of get away from it, but if that's not your goal to truly be like on the global level, you're more so, and not to like down anything, but you're more so just grinding. You want to be local. You know, you want to get that initial clientele. I would go with something that makes sense. So let's talk about Dunkin' Donuts. A global brand would be Dunkin', but when they started out for years, they were Dunkin' Donuts because they started out morning breakfast coffee shop selling donuts. That's what they did. That's what made them successful. But then after that, once they became worldwide, nationwide, they wanted to drop the donuts and just become Dunkin'. So in the future, as your business grows, you can start making your business name or logo a little bit more simplified, as we see a lot of these major companies do, such as, GoDaddy, Nike, Adidas. Like, those don't encompass what they do, but they're such big brands that their name speaks for themselves. Once you come up with your name, what I also want you to do is check the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. So I'm going to drop that link right in the comment section below. The reason why it's super important is I don't want you to come up with a name that sounds great and then there's a guy in the city next to you or down the street possibly that has that same name, and now you're fighting legal troubles. You're spending money that you don't need to pay a lawyer to fight for a name that you've grown passionately about and that you care about. So that's super important. The next thing I want you to do is figure out if the domain name is available for the name that you choose. And we're going to talk about domains later in the branding section, but as you write down the names that come to your mind, do a quick little search with the trademark office, see if somebody has that exact same name, and then also see if you can find that name as like a .com. But what's great now is they have so many different URL extensions. So you could be .shop, .biz, .live, .online. I don't even know that they have .t-shirt. They might, or .online. There's so many. But brand consistency is super important so that when people are looking for you through social media, online, whatever, everything goes together. So you don't want to be Rocky Top Tees over here, big orange Rocky Top t-shirt printers on Instagram, and then your Facebook is Tennessee Knox tees. It needs to be all consistent. So wherever your customer base is, they can find you. So we talked about finding the domain, talked about that. Here's the recommendations that I have for you. So in the book I had wrote, I'm gonna bring the book back up. Several recommendations, like if you don't have a name in mind. So good names to start with. Important places or people in your life. Possible favorite colors as you're coming up with your logo to go along with your name. Places you lived, mantras, dates, numbers. These are all things that can just get your mind ticking in the right area to come up with a name. So like here in Georgia, you can see right here, you've got Duluth Screen Printing. Then right here, you've got Deluxe Screen Printing, originally made in LA. So they came up with the name for their business, but then they kind of put a tagline on it to touch their customer base, which said made in LA because they're most likely in Los Angeles. But then you have some people who step completely away because they don't want to box themselves in. Like KD Graphics right here. His name or his initials are probably KD, but he does graphics, but you can see the screen print squeegees. So he's encompassing that's what he does. He probably can handle your artwork and all of that. And to finalize coming up with your name, I'm gonna jump back in. Let's talk about if you do like Duluth Screen Printing, Rocky Top Tees, something like that, you may box yourself in. So that goes into the planning and research, making sure that you know exactly who you're going to be selling to, because you don't want to just say girls rock t-shirts and then next thing you know, you only can sell to women because you've kind of marginalized yourself in there. So think about that as well when you're coming up with your business name. And if you have questions, drop them in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next chapter.